Hi, welcome back. Oh, that's so funny.
All right, Peter, we get it. Thank you. We had to set a little mood music to our today.
I want to light candles and incense too. That's a different show. So we're super excited to have someone who I think pretty much the entire world knows who she is.
Indeed.
A millionaire matchmaker. Patty Stanger is here with us on the lines. Patty, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Hi, Patty.
How you doing?
So are we going to get Kim a man today?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah, she's beautiful. I don't know why Kim, why are you single? What's really going on?
Thank you, Patty.
We need more than this show.
Get the point, right?
It's funny that you asked because someone wrote in on our page asking about divorce dating, and one of the questions I wanted to ask you is it different for a woman who's divorced like myself to get back in the dating world? It's been a long time for me, but I don't know if I'm picky. I think I should be.
No, okay. First of all, how long were you married for?
4 years, but I knew him for my entire life.
Do you have kids?
I have one child. He'll be 12 next month.
Okay, you were in the perfect driver's position. The reason is the person that once was married is the best kept secret, male or female, and you don't have a lot of children. One kid's fine. If you're over 40, you're going to be a little bit more shyer to date because you're out of commission. You haven't been doing this. It's like, you haven't ridden that bicycle since you're 12. So it's kind of like awkward. But if you start to look at dating as a way of getting into the house and having a good time. So I like to do this thing called making a fun wish list. So by the time someone asks you out after the first date and you know you like the guy, like you've gone on the internet, you met the guy, you like him, now let's see what he's got. Most men after the third date don't know how to plan dates. They're like, it's third dates, pizza and a movie, and then they're like, okay, now what? You can make a wish list of all the fun stuff you want to see in LA, Santa Barbara, San Diego, Laguna. It doesn't matter. And then say, I heard there's this play going on. I heard there's this, street festival. I heard this. And then you're getting something out of the date. So if the person turns out to not be the one, you fulfilled your satisfaction in socializing, in interests, and hobbies.
That's cool.
And so then you don't look like you wasted your time with the wrong guy. We put too much pressure on the guy. We do as women. If we don't see the end game with our name and their name together on the paper, or the wedding, or walking down the aisle, whatever, it's like, okay, they're not the one. And we don't give people a chance. And we're a very disposable society right now. So people are judging everything from how he eats at the dinner table to did he say the wrong word about his ex. It's like there's no wiggle room for the magic. Our parents didn't have that.
Right.
But that's why it's harder now. And yes, everybody is dating on the internet. I've been doing a lot of research. I'm single now too, Kim, so you and I can party together. I went out last night for dinner, the last 2 nights for dinner with my girlfriends in town, and I'm showing her LA. And I said, I haven't been to China Venice in a long time. I haven't been here. And there were no men. And it was Thursday night. And I was like, what's going on in this city that there are no men? I haven't, I broke up in June. I took a break. I traveled. So I'm kind of ready to get back out there. Right. I don't really want to go on the internet this time. I really like to see him in person and know what I'm getting.
Right.
And I'm trying to source for it because I'm really a witch, to be honest with you. I'm one of those that believes in attraction and working on your inner self to attract the right person so you rendezvous with them. But you still got to do the practical stuff and meet people and ask people to fix you up and, all the basics.
Right.
And I was looking for the men for the last 3 nights, I think, and I haven't seen any. And I go to New York and I do the same thing, and it's all women. I don't know what's going on in America, but I'm on the case, and I'm going to solve the problem. Because it's not been like when I was in my 30s, my dirty 30s, as I like to call it. When I lived in Miami, the streets were paved with men.
Yeah.
So it's like something's going on in the water. My friend told me yesterday, who's also my age, and I'm 54, she said that the men are dating online because it's easier. So I'm seeing more couples in a restaurant, which probably is a date,
right.
But I'm not seeing single guys stand at the bar and drink.
Well, and quite honestly, I don't do that either. And I am the only single person amongst all of my friends. And so my girlfriends, when we go out, we want to spend time together. So right. I had a friend of mine a couple years back that she was single. Our viewers know her as Kiki.
Okay.
Kiki and I, we would go out, but we would agree that we would catch up with each other for an hour before we would go out so that when we were out, we could put ourselves literally out there, not like naked, but like that we could be open to whatever was happening as opposed to so focused on each other and catching up. And we realized that...
Okay, so the rule of my business is those who travel in packs don't attract, and that even means two. You really might have to do something extraordinary, and it might be the hotel bar, a really fancy schmancy hotel bar like the Four Seasons or Peninsula or whatever, and you go by yourself.
Oh, God.
Because you're more approachable to a man. Now, the other secret is to get the referral. You're at a business meeting, you've been on a bad date even, and you say, the guy asks you out again, and you say, listen, I just don't feel chemistry. However, you're a great catch, and I know a girl for you. Maybe you know a guy for me. Good-looking guys, successful men who are quality, travel with other successful men. So this is one of the things that people don't do. They're embarrassed that they're single.
Right.
They don't tell 5 friends. I'm not saying beat them up with a stick like Charlotte did in Sex and the City and was screaming at everyone over their friends, fix me up, where's my husband? No, I'm not talking about that. I'm like, spread the word. You've got your Facebook, you've got your Twitter, you've got your Instagram. There's no reason in social media times that you can't say, hey, listen, anyone want to fix me up? You're on the radio. Let's sound the alarm and ask, the listeners to fix you up.
Oh, my God.
You just did, pictures in and give me references, not their mother, but somebody good, maybe next. There's a new app called Lulu, which is amazing, which actually talks about girls refer ex-boyfriends on Lulu. Hinge is supposed to be fantastic right now. I've heard great responses on Hinge. Okay, because Hinge is a little extensive beyond Tinder. It gives you more information. And, you might have to just put it out there. But sometimes, the prince can't find Cinderella because she's trapped up in the castle.
Right. Well, go back to something that you said a couple minutes ago, because this is, Jackie and I talk about this all the time, about we put too much pressure on the guy and that, we can assert ourselves. So I'm a fairly assertive person. And in a relationship or when I'm meeting someone, I would like to be courted a little bit. I would like to have someone...
You're Jewish. That's because you're Jewish.
Totally.
You're raised in a different culture and time. A man would pursue a woman, ask her out. This is California. You live in a really bad state. Gorgeous men,
right?
Quality men. They grow them tall here. Not like the land of the Jewish midgets in New York. But nonetheless, they're not the pursuing kind. Now, there is a rumor. There is estrogen, and this is being studied right now. So this is allegedly, you can look it up on the internet. Estrogen is in the bottle plastic in the water, which makes men passive and sometimes passive-aggressive because they're fighting their testosterone and their estrogen at the same time. Do you ever wonder why California men just don't get off the couch and call you up? And they say, you call me.
Well, but here's the problem. So if I am going to go with what you just said, that men are passive, and I take the lead, then men are like...
No, you're not taking the lead. You got that wrong. I didn't say that.
Okay.
I said you're taking the lead in your life, saying I'm getting out there.
Okay.
I used to have this, I have a book called Become Your Own Matchmaker. You can get it on Amazon.
Right.
And I have a new version of it, which is even better, called the Single Girl's Handbook. And it's an audio coaching program, singlegirlshandbook.com. And it gives the Bible of dating. It tells you where the men are, the matchmaking map, and sometimes they're not in the state or the town you live in. There's 11 men to one woman in Breckenridge, Colorado.
Right.
And it is the land of wealth. They're all oil millionaires. So I talk about the specifics. What I'm saying to you is you must take charge of your love life. You must make it a priority. It has to go first.
Yes.
For your kids. Then you have to say, I'm going to go out 2 to 3 times a week. For some who don't have a lot of responsibility, 3 times is easy. Others, 1 time is hard. But you have to say that. When a guy likes you and asks you out after the first time, if he doesn't give you Saturday night on the date, you're on the rotation. And whatever night of the week he gives you, it determines where you are on the rotation. And if he's not giving you, Saturday night, date night, and he gives you Monday night, laundry night, you don't give him your time. So there's a qualification process, like qualifying your buyer. And when you do this, it's because you're taking charge of your life. I say you open a dating bank account, you put money in, you use it for travel, going out, getting your hair done. This becomes a project. I mean, it is definitely going to be in first position before anything in your love life. Anything in your life. And then what happens is men start showing up. Now, when your dance card is filled, as my mother would say, you relax.
Right.
You're enjoying life.
Right.
Happy people get happy mates.
Wow.
So now you're not like in heat. Where is he? What's going on? Why am I the only one single? I got to go to another wedding. I got to go by myself. There's none of that drama and negativity going on.
I just think
after that happens, let me just say one thing and I'll let you go back. After that happens, he shows up the right one.
Right.
It's textbook.
I just think the balance of power is hard for me. And I don't mean a power like one has to be more power, but like
too much.
What?
You're going to be beta and alpha at different times. You'll be alpha at work and beta at home. You'll be beta at home because most likely you're going to get a more successful guy than you who's going to call the shots. But he might be quiet.
Right.
He might be chatty Cathy. And he might be strong and silent and says, look, I'm going to let her go until she hits the wall. And I'm like, dude, I'm the man. You're the woman. And you're going to have to listen to me. What I say goes. But sometimes beta doesn't let alpha shine.
Right.
And you are one of these people that switches at beta at home and it's alpha at work, and then you get confused when you get home because you don't turn your buttons off.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, that I know for me that's a struggle because there's a part of me, I'm so independent, I'm so self-reliant, I'm so in charge all the time that I would like to relinquish that a little.
Do you go on a date and say, I'm so self-reliant, I'm so in charge, I'm so this?
No.
You're not going to be like, what do you need me for? You got to shut up.
No, that's my point. So I do. I'm quiet, and I like
quiet. You don't have to be quiet, but you got to have balance.
Right.
You got to have the yin and yang blended. So when he asks 2 questions, you ask 1. You always give less than he gives. If he basically says to you, I'm telling you a great, fantastic, long story, you do a little bit less on your story. Like, there's always a little bit of less is more because you want him to come back to the table to learn more. Be a little mystery. Be a little luring than anybody else. Don't give all your cards away.
But how long does
this is who I am, and if you don't like me, tough.
Right.
Well, but how long does this last? I mean, it feels...
It doesn't really last very long. It'll happen in 3 dates, and the guy will know his position, and you'll know yours. And if you feel uncomfortable, like you got to call him to know where you're at. Like, you said we're going out at 7 o'clock, and I haven't heard from you all week long. He's not your guy.
But it feels a little bit like, a game and not authentic.
It's not a game and it's not authentic. It's male and female biology.
Right.
He has testosterone. You have estrogen. Now, as you approach 50, your estrogen is going to decrease and testosterone is going to take over. And there's nothing you can do about it. That's what menopause is. And he's going to switch too. He's going to switch too. The reason George Clooney got married is because he's going into estrogen phase. So he's no longer in testosterone. Before, he was sleeping with everyone, dating everyone with serial monogamous. He got tired because estrogen took over his body and said, whoa, I'm exhausted. I need someone to take care of me. And that's why he got married. Learn your biology and your science, and you'll understand where your headspace is at. But while you're in estrogen phase, you need to let the testosterone take over. And it's not a game. You must be beta to get the alpha. You don't want a beta man. If you wanted a beta man, then you'd become the alpha.
Right.
And 2 betas and 2 alphas do not come together. They will switch sides from work to home. It happens all the time, but they're never going to be at the same place at the same time. If you're with a beta man, you will lose interest.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everyone's always on their best behavior in the beginning, and I think that's where I get stuck because I'm very trusting and I attach and I'm open and I give people the benefit of the doubt because I want to believe that everyone has good intentions and all that stuff. And then after a little bit of time, when people get more comfortable with each other, then the real stuff starts to show, and then I'm already attached at that point, and then I'm like, oh, well, I'm sure that's what they meant, and then I start to lose myself.
There's a section in the book, and also in Single Girl's Handbook, where you're qualifying your buyer. So before he shows up even, you've qualified him. When he resonates into physical form, you know in the first 5 minutes of meeting him, yes or no, and you don't make a mistake. And that's the secret sauce. Because we waste time on people because we're lonely. We make poor decisions because we're lonely. Our vibrators don't cut it anymore.
But
it's really true.
You really believe, though? I mean, I have to say, I'm married. I've been married for 12 years. And when I met my husband, I had absolutely no interest in him.
Well, it's because he was married.
Well, he was married at the time. And for 4 years, we knew each other before we got together. And honestly, the first time we were together, I was like giggling because I couldn't believe I was in love with him before I was attracted to him, if that makes any sense.
Yes, so it makes total sense. You've decided to love. Biggest problem women have is they don't make a decision to love. They want someone to entertain them, to sweep them off their feet, but they really don't want to love the other person back. You have to choose to love. When you say to yourself, am I ready? You know what you should do right now? Is you need to say to yourself, are you ready, Kim, to love someone else? Don't ask about them loving you. Are you ready to love someone else?
Absolutely.
Give all your all to someone else.
Absolutely.
Okay, then you're ready to love. Then that's when he shows up. If you say to yourself, oh my God, the last man I had, I gave so much, I want someone to give to me, and you stay in that vibration, he cannot show up. Love only happens when you're ready to give. Now, does that mean you're going to give without getting? No. That's when a woman is truly vibrational, where she's a real female beta. Beta says to herself, I'm not going to give until I get.
Right.
Okay? And alpha will give because alpha wants to control and own the space. Beta will say, if you don't give me, I got to look out for myself first. And you have to love yourself first. And that's the problem. Women give too much. We're taught to nurture. But in this day and age, with social media and all the stuff going on in regular television and the pop icons, the movie stars, they're all getting divorced. Nobody's happy. Everyone's miserable. And they won't have any role models anymore. They say, oh, they have a great marriage. They have a great marriage. Like I said to my friend yesterday, okay, who in your life has a great marriage that you want to emulate? She goes, I don't know anyone.
Oh.
Well, I don't know any, and most people don't.
But do you think that the message...
on my podcast, on the Love and Sex Report, we ask this question all the time. Who do you want to be when you grow up in your love life? And nobody can come up with the perfect couple. Now, you can have an image of the perfect couple because you don't really know these people in the media. But the truth of the matter is you can't emulate something you don't know doesn't exist. Now, did your parents have an amazing marriage, Kim?
No. My dad's on his third marriage.
Right, okay. Is your dad married again?
Yeah, my dad's been married to his current wife for 20 years.
Do you love their relationship?
It's really nice out right now.
It's not a relationship that would work for me, but you know what? My dad is happy, and my stepmom takes very good care of him, and that's what works for them.
Okay, now, do you know anybody that you want to be in a relationship? Have you seen any relationship that you go, oh, I'd like, and it could be a movie star.
I have a couple, and no disrespect to Jackie, but I have a couple in my life, my friends Michael and Leslie, who I have always thought have such a beautiful relationship.
Well, stay in that place. Now, take that vibrational essence and draw it to you and say, I want a man like so-and-so. Now, it doesn't have to look like that, him. We don't put any faces or bodies on them. We just say, I want the essence of that relationship to come to me, and start sourcing for it. You know, we spend so much time going out and looking and hunting, and we don't worry about the inner quality. The inner quality is what really sets the tone. And it's one of those things when you both just said to me, I knew to love my husband before he showed up. That's the truth. Because you chose to draw on the essence. There's no coincidences in life, okay? It's synchronicity. And so you got to draw it from you. You can't stay in place of negativity that you're the single girl at the bar where everybody else is married and still attract love. It won't work. You got to change your energy and change your attitude.
But don't you think, Patty, that I find it to be a big issue when we all talk about finding the one. Now, again, my husband is my person. He is he's
your life mate. We're talking about life mates. Forget the soulmate, forget the one.
But my whole thing is,
life mate.
And I may have married somebody else and had a lovely life as well.
Now look at your vibration. You believe you have choices. You believe you have options. She does not. Kim does not. So Kim doesn't believe there are men out there. Kim doesn't believe there's good ones. Kim believes that she sees scarcity, you see abundance. So therefore, she can't get to where you're at. But I'll bet you in business, Kim sees abundance. See, sometimes we're really good at one thing. I'm great at manifesting money, great at manifesting television shows, great at producing. Love's a little harder. That's why I became a matchmaker, okay? So one of the things, that's why I study it. I'm studying the alchemy, basically, of love and attraction.
Right.
And so sometimes I feel scarce. Now, sometimes, this is a really interesting story. So recently, I've thought about adopting a kid. I was just getting on maybe it's time for me to adopt. I'm adopted. And I know that I can get a baby any minute. I don't know that about a man. I didn't have that confidence factor. Like my mother was one of those women who had the X factor and always looked hot. And even when she was, dying of cancer and walking down Publix grocery store in Florida, men were still throwing themselves at her, and she was married. My mother had that X factor, and I didn't have it, but I knew I had a baby X factor. And so now, the last 3 weeks, 3 people have come to me wanting to give me their babies. Oh. And it just wrote me a letter. Someone came into my house recently. I was interviewing them. Another person was an agency. Another person has a 4-year-old that has to give it up. It was just really strange. And I said, God, I'm so good at this. Why can't I shift that to love? Because I don't believe, and this is something I'm working right now, I'm using hypnosis right now and subliminals, that there's a lot of choices. You believe there are. So you say, I met my husband, I married him, but you know what, if he wasn't him, it would be somebody else. Kim doesn't believe that.
Yeah.
He thinks it's harder to get it.
Let's be honest, it's easy for me to say, given I'm in a successful relationship.
You believed it even before it
No, I didn't believe it before.
Talk about the fact that you set the tone and the vibration to bring him into your space before he shut up, because you knew, and you didn't get in heat,
No.
and you weren't anxious, and you weren't angry, and you weren't upset that it wasn't showing up. You didn't look at what is. You didn't take score.
Jackie had her dirty 30s. Don't you worry.
No, what I was saying before, it was that I knew him for 4 years before we got together.
Right,
and so,
exactly.
So he... but I was struggling the whole time dating and, wondering if I would ever get married, ever have children, all of that stuff. But the thing is, he was the guy who I worked with, who I would tell these stories to. And so he was the only person in my life, male in my life, who got 100% me because I was not trying to play games with him. I was authentic. I was raw. I was
vulnerable.
All of it, vulnerable. And so he knew me, and I am very alpha outside of that. And so he got to see and feel and be around the beta.
But the other thing is, you didn't care what he thought. That's
correct.
the real secret.
Right.
You didn't care. You were true, authentic you, because you didn't give a hoot.
Exactly.
If he basically came your way, and then you morphed into this beautiful, wonderful, wonderful woman that he could say, my God, she's so raw and real that I got to have that. See? It's funny. I have a crush on someone right now I work with. Okay, and I'm going through this year and a half of crushing, and I'm he pulls forward, he pulls back, he pulls forward, he pulls. We were both in relationships at the same time. We broke up at the same time. Then he went back to hers, and I stayed out. And it's we're going back and forth, right? And finally, I just said, "Oh my God, I'm so done with this dance."
Yeah.
I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
It hit me like a thunderstorm a couple nights ago. I'm just going to be me. I'm just going to be me. I'm not going to worry and edit my thoughts. I'm not going to sit there and be demure and quiet and angelic, because that doesn't work. Usually when I'm mean and I say, look, what do you want? That's when I get the guy.
Yeah.
And that's
it doesn't work to switch gears when it's unauthentic to yourself, especially the way people perceive me on TV. And I'm really not like that on television. There is a very soft, angelic, I'm very domestic, I stay home, I'm a home buddy. But people project what they want me to be, and I'm I'm not like that. I'm not going to scream at you when I see you.
Trust me, Patty, that's part of, Jackie and I talk about this too, that people have a perception of me and what they see of me on TV too, and that's really hard. And, I was going to ask you that, do you find that, being that you are single, that people have a perception? Is it harder for you to meet someone because people think that you're scrutinizing them or that you have an opinion of them?
It's not about that. So in my work in Millionaires Club, there's a line on my application people don't really understand. I go, which would you rather have? Okay, looks or money? And they go, what does that mean? I go, just answer the question, don't worry about it. So people go, looks or money? So me, it was looks. What looks means I'm ruled by sex. Money means you're ruled by security, and you can't have both. Doesn't mean you can't get both later in life, or you're a celebrity and you get both. It just means that you got to pick one side of the street, so I can determine how to fix you up, and that's a vibrational thing. So with me, sex has ruled the roost. If I'm not sexually attracted when I meet you, you don't go anywhere. So I went in a relationship for 7 years. I was engaged. He was my best friend, and he pursued me relentlessly. And I was dating every bad boy in LA, and they were breaking my hearts, and I was breaking my rules. And my mother was alive at the time, and she's like, pick him. He loves you. Because my mother loves when someone loves you more. And I did. And we got engaged, and it was terrible in the end because I was never sexually attracted to him. And I forced myself to be in this place. It taught me a great lesson, but it wasn't for me. And then, of course, I picked the guys who were sexually attracted who weren't good to me. So trying to find the combo package with money, whose quality, hard, not easy. I'm trying to refine. But you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, what are you? Can you attract who you are? And pretty much I'm everything I want to attract.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a perfect body. Doesn't have to be a billionaire. Makes money, successful, nice. I'm really generous, probably to a fault. That's my biggest problem. I give too much. And, I've never met anyone like me in that department. And I always said I was going to always be like, it was a kid. My mother gave me 5 Barbies one Christmas. My best friend was poor. Her family had 10 kids. She was Italian. She didn't have a Barbie. I went over to her house and I gave her 2. And they were collector's Barbies. And my mother got pissed off. She was like, how dare you do this? And I'm like, they don't have any Barbies. I have enough. Mm-hmm. And my mother went back to the woman's house to get the Barbies back, and I stood behind the door, and I go, Mom, that's not right. I was always the sharer. There's enough for everybody. But the bottom line is, I have to learn to cut it off, because sometimes men take advantage of you when you financially give too much. And I've always dated down financially. But I also did this exercise, which is in Single Girls Handbook, and you've seen it on the show with Kenya Moore, which is called Breaking the Pattern. you have a pattern you keep repeating over and over again, and you don't know why you're repeating it. So you take the last 4 significant relationships in your life, and you look for the congruency. Like, what is the one thing that keeps showing up that you didn't like? And it was always that they took advantage of me financially and didn't have any money. And I had to go back in time and really work on myself. And I learned at 11, my dad was an alcoholic, and he screamed one day as I was 11 years old in the house, "You made me lose all my money." And I must have downloaded that and said, I'm going to help every man that comes my way.
Yeah, I'm a fixer too.
Right. And then I woke up and said, I'm never going to do that again. And so now I'm not doing that again. And so I'm attracting men who've asked me out who have money. They're just like, no, chemistry thing.
You know, it worked for a long time ago. I used to think, oh, you don't need money. It's love that rules the world. And the older I got and the more successful I became in my own life, I thought, you know what? It's not that I need someone who is a quote unquote millionaire. I just need someone that can take me out to dinner every week. I don't need to be, I want to be, and it would be lovely, but it makes it easier sometimes. I just don't want to be the one to support.
Right. Romance is the key to success. If you have a man and he just doesn't have a lot of money, but he picked up a bottle of champagne, got a bucket of fried chicken, and said, let's go to the beach and watch the sunrise, and you cuddled and kissed, and he told you how beautiful you are, you'd be set.
Totally.
It's not about spending the money. It's about the quality of time and being creative with it. You know, there are lots of free, wonderful things you can do in town that nobody even talks about. I did that in college all the time. I had a boyfriend who took me to the airport one day. He got a big pizza, this amazing pizza. He got my favorite alcohol, and we laid and watched the planes fly over us, and you can feel the vibration as we laid on top of his car.
Right.
I mean, it was just a fun little date that we did. I always remember that because I was pretty creative.
Right.
So it's just about, you know, if you forget my anniversary, if you forget Valentine's Day, and you can't pick up flowers, you know, at the local Ralph's, we have a problem.
Right.
We have a problem. Yes, Houston, there is a problem. And it's one of those things that people just don't think. They can take us for granted as you're washing and cleaning and cooking and servicing them the other way, you know.
Right.
You can't keep doing give and not get back. But I think men phone it in. I think they give us excuses. I think women do way more today. We have more women in college, although we're not making equal pay for equal dollar. That's a whole separate issue. It's not fair. Hopefully Hillary will be president and things will start to shift. You know, I think that there's a whole problem in America where women are taught to be indispensable from childbirth.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And men just have to show up. That's it.
Well, Patty, we have to take a break. Can we keep you on for a little bit longer?
Yeah, I have a few more minutes, and I got to go to a meeting. Is that okay?
That's
perfect. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back with Patty Stanger, the Millionaire Matchmaker. Welcome back to Broadscast. We are with the Millionaire Matchmaker, Patty Stanger. So, Patty, we know you have to get to a meeting, but real quick, what mistakes are people making when they create their online profiles? Because my brother is recently single, and he says all the women who like him, he's not interested, and all the women, you know,
I mean, first of all, you need quality professional photos. It's worth spending some money and getting a photo. There's a great place called lookbetteronline.com. They're all over the nation. They'll get you a photographer that's cost affordable, like literally under $300. We use David Krause photography. He's amazing, and he retouches for $500. So sometimes you really got to get a professional photo to get a better person. Don't put the extreme pictures up of you hang gliding in the sky with a little dot, or 25 beers with your pals, or 25 girls you can't get. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, oh, these are all my friends, and they're all models. Yeah, okay. Girls, stop. Don't put with the 25 cats in the picture.
Oh, God.
Or your 55 animals, okay? Or the three-quarter picture, which means you didn't show your legs and your body, so they think you're heavy and you're hiding something. Mm-hmm. It's not a good idea to lie on the profile and say you're 6 feet when you're really 5'9". Okay?
Right.
Or women, you can take 10 pounds off, but you get to 20, you're, fudging it. I will let you cheat on the age, as long as you come clean on the date.
Right.
But don't go past 10, or you're going to be really, screwed.
But then, right? Do you think that you kind of have to do some of these lies just to get somebody interested?
Because they box you out. It's not like you can, they box you out.
Well, yeah, Kim does that because she wouldn't go for somebody. She went up to 49, and I was like, you got to open it up to 50. And she said, well, I don't want somebody.
She's starting to think 50 is like old and cantankerous. She thinks if they're not in the 40s, they're not active.
Right, but she's 43, and you've got plenty of guys who are 50 and who, and then she ended up.
And then I opened it, and he was a tool. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The other thing is, what does your handle say? So, like I used to use Sultry Brunette or East Coast Beauty, or I had something that was like attractive in the title as a woman to get the man. What is the man saying? Rugged Alpha. That'll get a woman.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what are you saying? Say, Brewski boy. No one's going to pick you. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, think about what you're saying. Then the tagline's important. I always say, I'm looking for my best friend I can grow old with. Okay, it's a very gentle, soft place to fall. A woman who wants a man who's successful says, I love titans of industry because I love to learn about business. You see what it is? So
Right.
it's like the way you say it is more important than actually what you're saying.
Oh,
Pretty much it.
Yeah. It's not working for me.
And I said, no more than 4 photos. If you put 4 photos, a good body shot, if you're 20-something, you put a bathing suit shot on. But if you put 4 quality photos of you alone and nobody else in the picture, okay, and they ask you for more, that means, they're doing the little nasty to you.
Yeah.
And they basically are married. Because a man sees 4 photos, he knows, hey, let's go. Let's make a date. Now, the men that asks you for dinner is a quality guy. He's got to eat.
Right.
So he has money. Okay, he says, listen, you mind meeting at 7? Let's instead of a drink or coffee, don't do the Starbucks date because they're poor. I know people hate me for saying this, and Starbucks probably hates me, but I'd rather have Olive Garden than Starbucks any day, okay? Because a man who will break bread with you and spend an hour eating food wants to get to know you.
See,
and
but
really
I don't want
a relationship.
But unless there's some little bit of a connection before, I don't want to enlist
but you're talking about he might have friends, you might have a commonality.
Oh,
You
right.
like to ski, he likes to ski. His sexy voice on the phone. He took charge. You're going to feel the energy. You know who to give dinner to and who to give it to. Now, some men do the drink and say, oh, we're hitting it off so well. How about, are you hungry? You want to get some dinner now?
Right.
They do that too. That's a quality guy.
How do you move from texting?
The guy who takes you to Starbucks is not a quality. The guy who says, let's go on a hike, not a quality guy.
Right.
Runyon Canyon, I'll meet you at Runyon Canyon. No, I don't even know you yet. I'm going to go hiking with you because or let's meet at the beach. He wants to see you in a bathing suit. The other one wants to see you in workout gear. That's not a date. A man must spend money, romance, 2 alone, not a competitive joint where you're looking at the bar to see who's coming in the door, although I don't see very many people anymore. That's a quality guy.
I had a guy that wouldn't talk to me on the phone, but he only would set up a time to meet in person. I'm like, I am not going to meet.
No. First, the guy who will not get on the phone.
Yeah.
Is not your guy.
Right.
A texter. Now, some people are doing the Skype, some people are doing the iChat, somebody doing FaceTime. Yes, he wants to see if the goods match the picture. That is a guy who's really screening hard because he's picky, icky, wicky. Stay away from him. The guy that says, oh, I like your voice. I know who you are. I've seen you on TV.
Right.
Oh my God, let's meet. That's the guy. The guy who says, I'm going to only see you when I see you. Who is that? That's not. First of all, that guy tells you he's not a good time management person, first of all, because we're busy.
Right.
He's got a business he's conquering. He doesn't have time for this nonsense. Real men make specific dates and time and add food.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Okay, and if he can't do it in your 40s, Kim, he's not your guy. I mean, 40-year-old men should know how to date by now. They must have been married at least once or had a serious girlfriend, or they had a decent mother who taught them that. Men over 40 who've never been married, who don't have long-term relationships, stay away.
Right.
You're not going to break the bank. I know that Amal is an unusual situation with George, and I know people go, well, what did she do? She lived far away. There's 3 things she did. You want to know why George Clooney settled for her and picked her, rather? You want to know why?
Why?
Okay, she was a foreigner that lived far away, and she was at the top of her industry like he was at the top of his industry. So now he's getting a quality woman he's proud of. She's not some actress trying to, ride his coattails to fame. Okay?
Right.
Like Stacy Keibler, okay? The second thing is he wanted her. He had to fight for her. She's busy. So the first 3 times I heard that he asked her out, she said no because she had 5 things going on, and she's just like, I don't trust this dude. He's going to win her over. Robert Downey Jr. did the same thing with his wife. She's Jewish. He was in the program, an addict. She's like, I'm not dating him. I have to take insurance out as a producer to date him. He had to fight and break the door down to prove her that he was healthy to date.
Yeah.
When a man does that, as Dr. Phil says, when a man climbs mountains and swims oceans to get you, that's your guy.
Yeah.
So she was busy, Amal. And she's like, look, you want to go in my world? Okay, you want to date me, you got to go in my world. So she set the tone, and she became a boundaries girl with priorities. And had to move fast because they started dating and going on vacations. And then when they lost each other in between, they were lonely and missed each other because they lived in 2 different countries. Long distance goes faster a lot when they're serious.
Right.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Patty Stanger,
Lots of education.
No, I love it. I love it.
Get if you want more from me, you can get singlegirlshandbook.com or check me out at pattyknows.com. It's my website.
Right.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So I feel like you have a lot to think
Homework.
about.
I have homework.
Right?
Patty just gave me homework. Jeez.
How do you feel about, some of the things that she was saying?
A lot of what she says, I think I know. It sounds like an excuse when I say some of those things are hard to put into play. And I think I'm learning and I'm getting better. I think, you and I talk about this a lot, that it's the balance, and it's trying to figure out. I have found that the older I am, the more intolerant I become of some of this BS that I find out in the world, and then I'm trying to put myself in check that, like, what am I putting out and what am I getting back? I'm really just trying to figure out my part in all of it, and if I'm open to receiving things, and if I'm making excuses, or if I'm trying to be, open to how other people behave. Like, I'm trying to figure it out, and it's not easy. I guess it's just not easy.
It's not easy, but I think that
not easy being wheezy.
But I think being open is number one, and not and just. Playing the numbers game too you have to meet a lot of people.
Well, the first thing that she said that I would have to do, I'm not going to a bar by myself. I'm not that girl. I don't think I could ever.
I think that you need to do the things that make you happy. Go to hockey games and go to.
But I'm not gonna.
You always bring your kid.
Well, dogs work for men, the chick magnet, but
because that's what a man's.
But who am I going
to? If only she had a 12-year-old son,
But even going to a hockey game, I'm not going to go by myself.
I'll go with you.
Yes, but she said you tracks and packs, or don't, whatever that phrase was. They don't come.
Sit the next.
We're going to put a sandwich board saying she's available. Pick her.
Well, I would.
Yeah.
But, the same thing is she talked about certain websites and like Lulu. So I check it out, right? And look at this. The picture, the first thing is like a guy with the white man's overbite. Like this is what you have to deal with.
Yeah, we did. Remember a couple years back, I participated in a social experiment with you about the woman that came and she ripped apart my profile.
Yes,
and she too said that, I know we don't have that much time left, but she too told me that I should have professional pictures. And I'm like, but I am not in my kitchen with an apron with my coiffed hair cooking roast. So or in a library with scotch. That's not me. So I want my pictures to reflect who I am.
You have beautiful pictures that you've had professionally taken a couple times.
Yes, but I'm not taking professional dating pictures. I use one of the pictures that I have that our lovely friend Renee Bowen took of us, and I do use that. And the comments that I get are great, and it's because it's lovely, but that's not reflective of me. That particular picture that I use, it's fun and it's sexy and it's hot, but
yeah, but it could be one of several.
Right.
They can see, But anyway, public service announcement here, because we only have 25 seconds. If you are a single man, message us on the Broadscast page. She is hot. She's kind. She's successful.
But I'm not opening up my bank account.
And she's not going to give you money, but she'll give you love and attention.
Yeah.
So, I think that's it for us today.
Thank you. And thank you, Stark Social, for always doing such amazing work for us,
Yes.
our website and our social media stuff. And thank you, team, for being in our corner all the time. That's
Have a great week.
Broadscast.